my name is Abby Hunter, and I'm a part of the project to bring light to the creative community that we have here in Lancaster County. And today with me, I have Liz Bell. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Liz, and how you became an art therapist.
Well, let's see, I feel like I've always really been interested in art stuff. And I feel like it really kind of started when I was really little. I remember my dad had in the top of his closet like a little manila folder, and it had a few drawings that he had done, like a castle, a gamecock, just a few other different little things. And it was such a treat. I felt like I was like, oh, Daddy, can you get your folder of drawings down and let me look at them? And I was just like, whoa, my dad is good. And so then my parents would always like take big pieces of paper to our refrigerator and let me just kind of sit down in front of it and draw or paint or whatever. So I guess I've always just kind of been interested in it. And by the time I got in high school, somehow I came across art therapy as like a whole profession thing. And I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of sounding interesting to me. So I just kind of started looking into it and everything, and I found out that there was a school in South Carolina that was accredited for having art therapy as a major. And so that was Converse College in Spartanburg. And so I loved it there. I felt like the classes that I had, just everything really, really prepared me, I feel like, for life and just being independent. So I did my classes there. It was art and psychology classes a lot. And my senior year, everybody like in an art program had to put on a show and everything. So there were 3 of us art therapy majors the year that I graduated, so we had our own little senior show that we had put up and everything. And so that was like, whoa, that was a big deal. I thought that was like my most accomplished thing. I'm like, look, I told my family, like, if y'all don't make it up for graduation, that is fine, but come to the show, come to the art show. That was the biggest deal for me. So I graduated school, I worked in Spartanburg, kind of doing art therapy. The thing is, I couldn't call myself a therapist because you do have to have a counseling license. So it was kind of like, we're just doing expressive arts kind of in a therapeutic way and just kind of learning and going from that. So I worked with a girl who was 14 at the time, and with her family and everything, and it was really great. I absolutely loved it. I actually still keep in touch with her, and she is in her 30s now, her late 30s, so it's really fun to keep in touch with her. Then we moved back here to Lancaster County and East Springs. I grew up in East Springs, so I moved back. And it was really, really hard, I felt like, to get art therapy started. I feel like I went to so many places and presented my case, and I had, data evidence, photographs, just everything of what it was. And I felt really humiliated. I tried for a long time, and people were like, no, we just don't have a need for that in this area. It's, nobody was really interested. So I was like, okay. So I got in the schools and I did a self-contained class for a year. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love the kids, but I had a really hard time. I was like, I am not meant to be a teacher and deal with people's parents and stuff like that. So, not to say anything bad about, parents of children or anything, but that was just not really my thing. And I was like, I have got to get this art therapy stuff off the ground and going. And it just kind of happened to work out that finally, it was a year after I had went to the superintendent for Lancaster County, who was Dr. Patricia Burns at the time.
Yeah.
So about a year after that, I got a call from her and Dr. Kathy Durbin, who was over student services. And I went in with them again, and they're like, okay, great, we have a need. There's, 2 schools, 2 classes, that I started working with, and that was the 2003-2004 school year. And so since then, it's kind of grown. About a year after I did that first year, I got contacted again from the Arts Council. It was like, hey, we still have some paperwork on file, of your stuff. Are you still interested in doing this? And I'm like, oh yeah, great, because I only work like 1 day a week.
Yeah.
And so then I started going to the Southside Early Childhood Center, and I was like, oh, I was really loving it. And then just kind of throughout time, it's kind of grown, like I guess word of mouth. And so I'm at 7 different schools now. And a lot of the schools I'm at, I've got like 2 or 3 classes at them. So it's grown, and I just love it.
And what would you say throughout your years of doing art therapy? Like, what have you learned from it, from the people that you've been in contact with and you've worked with?
I would say that like the most important thing is that it's the process, not the end product that counts. A lot of people sometimes they're like, oh, I can't really do this. I'm not very artistic or creative, or I'm gonna mess up. But I'm like, it's the whole process of just going through it and working it out. Just the whole thing of creating something, I feel like is what just kind of leads to kind of like the end of just kind of like you being able to put your mind together, get your thoughts together, have a little bit of self-expression, participate in things that you might not otherwise be able to participate in.
Yeah.
I know like some of the classes that I see, like they don't get to go out to like regular art classes with, like other classes do. A few of them don't get that. So this is like the only time that they get art. And so I think it's just really neat to see how much they grow throughout it. And what I really do love is that since I'm at so many schools now, I really get to follow and stay with the same kids.
Yeah.
So, because I'm all the way up to Lancaster High School. So, I really enjoy that. And it really hit me hard when I had a first few students who I had all the way from age 3 till they aged out of high school. And so I was like, oh man, yeah, and it's sad. Like when they leave and it's like, oh my gosh, I've worked with them since they were like 3. But yeah, I would just say like the most important thing I've learned is that it's just the whole process of it, and to just take your time and trust yourself and try not to put any, like boundaries on yourself.
And you said that you had trouble with people saying that there was not a need for it. What would you say to individuals who still think that there isn't a need for it, or they don't quite understand why it's important?
I guess I would tell them, hey, I understand everybody has their own opinion and a right to their opinion, but obviously they haven't really talked to anybody who's benefited from it or whatever. So I would try to be nice and just smile and be like, okay, yes, I understand, but obviously you haven't talked to anybody who's been through it and has seen it help people. But I mean, it's a big difference now when it was back then 20 years ago. It is more accepted, and people are more open to like the whole idea of art. Even like in the community, like here with the Arts Council, I feel like it's grown so much, and there's so much like art in the community now, and it's just a wider topic that I feel like is more welcome now.
And can you explain one of your projects or pieces that you've done with people that has helped them do something they maybe not have been able to do before?
Like a particular like art project that I've done with people?
Yeah, like something that made something more accessible to certain individuals who may have not been able to participate.
Oh, okay. Well, like in some of the classes that I see, like some of the kids like don't have very controlled movements, like their motor skills are not very good. But so for one of those classes, what I like to have them do is I have little small balloons that I blow up, and I get really big rubber bands, so it's not tight on
Yes.
anybody. But so I tie like those big binder rubber bands to the balloon and kind of loop it over their hand so that they're able to kind of, like put it in paint and then like kind of make a balloon painting on their paper. And so, and it's really neat, I think, when they see like, okay, yeah, I'm doing this.
Yes.
And so I feel like that's been like the most to see kind of like excitement and stuff and people participating.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd say that's kind of one of my favorite that I feel like really makes me smile, just makes me feel good every time they're doing it. So
Yeah. And one last question for you. What does being creative mean to you?
I feel like being creative means not being afraid to step out of the box. To just really think about who you are and try to be true to that and not worry about, what other people might think or anything like that. Just kind of having the braveness to step out of the box and break the bounds. So.
All right, good answer. And thank you for your time.
Thank you too. I appreciate it.